everyone, this is Gary2x4 here, and welcome back to the first ever release for the new 1.5.1 model world. I'm very excited to show you guys everything that I've been up to, and there has been a ton of new vehicles added in. Like, I'm talking probably definitely over 100, maybe closer to a couple hundred, have been added in such a short time period, a couple months, that it's insane. The world's already ready for at least a initial release, and like before with the previous model world, I am going to be doing updates here and there. Now, a lot of these builds on here have not been shown on my channel or anywhere basically public except for this, so I do ask if you do end up using any of the designs here from the download that you do give me credit. This can be anything from the sound of the build to link to my channel or this video in basically a description if it's on social media or wherever. I do ask credit to, get my name out there, promote my channel, and all that. So that's really the only reason, and I do appreciate all those that do give me credit for everything. However, I will be putting a timestamp right now in the bottom of the video. If you are interested in hearing about some of the more spiel about the world, that's awesome. If you want to go straight to just seeing what's been built and going over it in detail, showcasing everything, then you can go ahead and skip ahead to that point. So here's your chance. Go ahead and skip ahead if you want to. But in terms of the world itself, I do want to go ahead and let you guys know that there will be a download in the video description. It will take you guys to my planet Minecraft, and there will be a link in the post for this world where you can download the world yourself and explore it and take a look at all the fun goodies on there. In addition, I am using a resource pack, so things will look a little bit different. Just keep that in mind going forward. So there will be a link for that in the video description as well, where you can download my resource pack that I'm using and use it for yourself. This world is also in 1.18.2. The next update will be updated to 1.20. But for the time being, I would recommend loading the world in 1.18.2. You can probably get away with 1.20, but anything below 1.18.2, you'll probably have corruption issues. So definitely don't go anything lower than that game version there. With that, though, I think that's pretty much it for the quality of life things I just got to mention there real quick. And again, all the information will be down in the video description as well. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into the video by taking a look at our first section we always start off with, which is going to be the ground section. So we have the ground section of vehicles, and you can see there's already quite a lot. I just want to go ahead and take some time real quick because we do need to talk about the spawn. So the spawn is pretty cool. It's something completely new. You can see the old logo here. I do need to change it over to the new logo, so that is something I'm going to probably work on and hopefully have fixed for the next update. But you have your central spawn location here, just, pretty simplistic, just some scenery around it like that. Over there we do have the Patreon wall, so that was carried over from the previous world. Again, just a thanks to all those that have supported me in the past and, maybe in the future if we get to that point. So again, just the logo here. Spawn, you have the aircraft behind us, so any air. We have construction that way, filling in the gaps, and then space. Again, we'll get to those here shortly, but you'll be going ahead and taking a look here first at the ground. If you want to, you can look at the time encoder bar or the video description. There'll be timestamps that will show you guys basically where you can skip ahead to if there's a certain section you want to see more than anything else. So definitely skip ahead to those sections if you want to. And let me tell you guys, space and construction are probably going to blow you away a little bit. So just keep those in mind going forward. Without further ado, though, let's jump into our first section here, which will be the ground. Now, the ground section here is going to be our most massive section. I don't really know where to start, to be honest, but for us, I guess we'll go ahead and go to the right here, because right is right. We're going to go ahead and take a look first at our World War II section for the United States. As always, leading the way, we have the United States here. The first build we have is going to be the M26 Pershing. Pretty simplistic build here, but really nice tank altogether. We then have the T28/T95. I think this is the T95 with the double tracks, and then we also have the version here with the non-double tracks. So just kind of the normal version as well. It looks kind of naked when you look at it, so kind of cool there. Then we have the Sherman. So this is the M4A3E8 Sherman, as well as the M24 Chaffee. And we have the T26 Sterling heavy truck. So this one here is the truck version, or the tractor trailer. And then we have the more kind of cargo truck version, and it's an absolutely huge truck. Even 1.5 to 1, this thing is pretty massive. So that's that. Then behind them we have Germany, both Nazi Germany and World War I Germany, so German Empire. First build we have here is going to be the Tiger 1. Always, classic, gotta have that first. Next build here is going to be the Wesp self-propelled gun, followed by the E100. Then we have the Panther, the off-steam version. This is going to be followed up with the SD-KFZ-9 FAMO. So kind of a half-track truck, pretty interesting. And then we have a wrecker or recovery version of it as well. So with this crane there, really cool. Then we have the SD-KFZ-7-2. So again, the same vehicle chassis, just with an anti-aircraft gun. I believe it's a 37mm gun. And then we have the gun by itself. So again, the 3.7 centimeter Flak 36 anti-aircraft gun. And we have it both in the deployed version and then also a towed version. So cool there. Then we have the A7V from the German Empire. And then we have a prototype of the Tiger, which is pretty interesting, the VK36.01H. Again, I think this is a build that I never built before. So it's pretty good. And actually, I really like it. I think it's a cool looking build. So looks like the Tiger, but definitely different enough to be its own thing. Now, if we head over here, we get into our Soviet Union. So the starting build here we have is the BT-5. Then we have the BT-7. This is followed by the BT-7M. Then we have the T-26, followed by the T-28 mod in 1938. So big old heavy tank there. Then the next one we have is the T-28. So just it's a more standard version. I believe this is like the later version, if you want to call it that. Then we have the Su-14, some sort of like self-propelled gun artillery. We have another version of it, which is the Su-14-1. So again, just a little bit of a longer gun there. And then we have a fully enclosed version of it, which is the Su-14-2. Next, we have the Russian Empire, which is in here. I think this is not quite our first Russian Empire build, but first time ever doing the Mendeleev tank, which is pretty interesting. It's just a giant box with a battleship gun pretty much in it. So really interesting stuff there. Just a brick in the line. We then have the T-44, which is a really nice build. Very happy with the way this one came out. And we have the T-44-100, which has the side skirts and just a little bit longer and bigger of a gun. And then we have a tank destroyer version of it, which is the Su-101 Uromash 1, which is what it was more commonly known as. So, a version of that as well. Then we have the KV-1. Absolutely love this tank. I think this one came out really good, and lots of good detail on it. So, very happy with the KV-1 there. And then we have a variant of the KV-1 family, and this is the Su-152 assault gun. So, just a KV chassis with a 152mm gun on it. So really cool stuff there. And that's going to be it for the World War II section for the Russian Empire and Soviet Union. Behind them we have Italy. So not too much going on here. Of course, we have the L3 series. You can't go wrong with this. We have the standard version of the L3. Then we have the CC, which is basically just the cannon version. Then we have the L3 /33 LF. This is the flamethrower version with the trailer. We then have the 20mm Southrun, but this is on the 35, which was just a slightly different version, modified of that of the L3. So a little bit of a variant there in it. And then we have the 35 flamethrower version. So this one has the tank actually incorporated on the build itself. So pretty cool there. And then we actually have one thing I've never built before, didn't know existed, but there was actually a bridge layer experiment with the L3. So we have the bridge extended here for the bridge layer version, which just looks super goofy, but is what it is. And we have a really nice looking P26/40 medium tank there and a nice camo scheme as well. You also notice that I have tried to incorporate a lot more camo schemes into my builds in the 1.5-to-1 world, so lots of good stuff there. The next section we have is going to be our Nordic section. We first have the L10, and this is all of the War Thunder Nordic or Sweden tech tree for World War II. So some of these may look a lot really familiar to you. The first we have is the L10 or the STRV M31. So again, just a real simple medium tank here. Next we have is the BT-42. Followed by that, we have the STRV M41. And then we have the PVKV 33 or 3 tank destroyer. And then we have the PVKV 2 tank destroyer. So pretty much the same thing there, just with some different varied guns. We have the STRV M38, which will then be followed by the STRV M40L. And then the Lago 1 STRV M/42. So again, really nice build there. And then we have the Lago 4, which is the STRV M42 EH. So a bit more of a bigger gun on that, if I remember correctly. We also have the PVKV 4. Then we have the STRV M42 DT. I think this one is pretty unique because it actually has 2 guns on it. So the back gun there, very weird tank. I think it was only a prototype. Then we have the PVLVV FM42, so a tank destroyer of some sort. We then have the LVTDGB M/40, and no, I'm not making these names up. They're that crazy, but this is probably one of my favorite vehicles in the Swedish line. I really like it. It's got a nice Bofors 40 mil on it. Then we have the L62 Anti-2, just a self-propelled anti-air gun. So good stuff there. And then the SAV M43, again, really nice build. We then have the SPJ FM 43-44 assault gun, the meatball launcher there. We then have an armored car here, which is pretty cool, the Panzerbill M39. So really cool looking armored car. It's one of the more unique ones. Very weird, low profile, long body, interesting stuff. Then we have our first time I've ever done it, but Denmark is incorporated into the world, and they have the Landsverk L/185 armored car. So pretty cool little armored car here for them. So that's cool stuff there. And then we have the Landsverk L-180 from Sweden, and just a larger armored car version. Then we have the Vickers Carden Lloyd patrol tank, and again, this is a Denmark tank and a very small tank, one of the smallest ones probably on the world so far. Very goofy, but still a really cool build. So that's all of Sweden. Again, I think Sweden here is the longest line, possibly passed by the French. It's very close, but yeah, Sweden's absolutely massive here. Then we have the barrage balloon lorry. So we'll take a look at the barrage balloon here shortly, but this was for the UK. Should have mentioned that, but we have the United Kingdom here, and we have the barrage balloon lorry with the air tanks on the back there. So cool stuff, and we'll take a look at the truck actually connected to the barrage balloon here shortly. We then have the Mark V male version. So again, really happy with the way this design came out. So cool stuff. Probably see a tutorial for that soon. Then we have the M4 Crab mine flail. Again, just a Sherman with the mine flail on the front there. A British design, so it's located here in the British section, which is something that was incorrect in the original model world where I actually had it with the US section. But yeah, we have the mine flail Sherman there, and I think that's really cool there. That's it for the British. Then we have Japan, just a couple builds here. We have the Type 98 Kini, so light tank. Of course, we have the Type 95 Hago. And then next to it, we have the Type 94 Tiki. So very light tanks here. Nothing too crazy yet for Japan, but more will definitely be coming. Going back to the French section, we have the AMC 34YR. And again, this is all of the French War Thunder, World War II, World War I tanks. So if you are familiar with that line, a lot of this is going to look familiar. We have the Panhard 178 AMD 35. Really nice little armor car. And then we have the AMC 35 ACG.1. Then next to it, we have the Hotchkiss H35 cavalry tank, followed by the Hotchkiss H39 cavalry tank. We then have the FCM 36, followed by the R35. Then, of course, the Char D2. And then the more iconic Char B1 heavy tank. And then we have the Char B1 Tur, which is just kind of an up-armored version of the Char B1. Next to it, we have the S-35, which will then be followed with the Char-2C. So big old boy here. Again, really happy with the way that came out. We then have the P-7T AA. So really interesting little AA vehicle. And of course, we have the base vehicle that was based off of the Unique P107BU half-track. So cool stuff there. We then have the CCKW 353AA. This is, again, just basically an American truck with a 40mm Bofors in the back. But more specific, a French design there. But really cool stuff there for that. Then we have the AMR 35ZT3. And then the Lorraine 37L tank destroyer. And then lastly for the French, we have the SAW 40 self-propelled gun. And that is going to be everything we have there for the French line. Again, a lot of vehicles, mainly just because there has been a lot of building going on. So a lot of good stuff there. And then behind them, we have Czechoslovakia. I think this is should be Czechoslovakia there, but this, I believe, is the first ever World War II Czechoslovakian build we've done. And this is the Koloshenka KH-50, a very interesting little light tank that had treads and also wheels. Not sure this is the purpose, but it is a very interesting tank and one of the more unique ones in our World War II section. Now, directly behind all of this, we do have the oversized section, and this is, again, something I carried over from the previous world, just to keep these plots from being crazy long, trying to fit everything. We have the oversized section. The first build we have here is going to be the Soviet TM-3-12 railway gun. So a huge Soviet railway gun. Again, first time ever building this, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. So really happy with it. Awesome looking railway gun, and it kind of makes the Leopold look a little small there. And if, mentioning the Leopold, the next build we have here is going to be the Krupp K5-3. This one isn't anyone in particular, but if we had to call it a name, we'd probably call it the Leopold. So one of my last tutorials I did was on the 2-to-1 version of the Leopold. So this is the 1.5-to-1 version. Again, looks really good for its size there. So very happy with that. Next thing we have here is going to be the barrage balloon, and this is attached to that lorry we did take a look at earlier. But this is the balloon itself, and this is really cool. Very happy with the way this came out. But yeah, we have the barrage balloon in all of its glory there, and something that was requested a long time, for a very long time in 2-to-1, but finally it's been done in this scale here. Then next to it, we have a World War I German observation balloon. You can see there the little bucket there for the basket for the observer to sit in. But this here is the Parzival Siegfeld, and it was called the Draken. So really interesting looking thing there. It's super oddly shaped, but was a little phase where I was loving building these balloons. So cool stuff there. And then we have the transporter truck, so the Sterling T26 that we took a look at earlier with the T67 trailer. So this is just it incorporated with the trailer, and looking all good and stuff like that. Would be able to transport heavy tanks like the Pershing and all that stuff. So that is it for our World War I, World War II section. Let's go ahead and move on over to our larger section, the Cold War Modern Warfare section. So moving into our Cold War Modern Warfare section, of course, we have the United States leading us off, and this is going to be starting off with the very iconic M11-3 armored personnel carrier. So this is the A1 version, more of the Vietnam variant. Then the next one we have here is going to be the A3 variant, which is more of like the Desert Wars, the more modern version of it. And then we have a couple more variants of it. We have the M63 VODs, which is the self-propelled anti-aircraft version. Basically just a giant autocannon on the top there, which is really cool there. Then we have the M58, which is a smokescreen generator version. So not a whole lot different. It just has like this little dispenser here on the back and all that. That was kind of cool. So obviously went ahead and built it. And then the next version we have is a mortar carrier. I actually got to adjust that sound, so I'll make sure I'll adjust that. But we do have the mortar carrier version of the vehicle as well. Then next to it, we have the MGM-52 Lance. So this was a tactical ballistic missile. This one here is on a trailer type configuration. So just have the missile there and it'll be able to launch from the trailer. And we also have a version here that can launch from the M752, which is basically just a tail, to carry the missile, erect it, and fire it. Speaking of tails, we do have another one here. This is the M474 Pershing 1. So the Pershing 1 rocket, and this is being carried again on a chassis of the M11-3. Bit larger of a ballistic missile here compared to the other one, but we have the version here kind of in a transport mode, and then we have the erected version right behind it, which is pretty cool. So that's cool stuff there. And then we also have another vehicle based off the M11-3, and this is the power supply unit for the TEL system. So cool stuff there. We then have the M5 Ripsaw, which is an electric kind of drone tank thing. And then we have another version of it. So just a couple different versions of it. Kind of interesting little build there. Of course, we get into our M1 Abrams line. So we have the standard M1 Abrams with the 105mm gun. We get into the next version here, which is the M1A1 Abrams. So the upgraded version. Then the next one we have here is the M1A2 Abrams. And then followed by that, we have the M1A2 with the SEP V.2, basically Tusk armor add-on. So it has the extra armor, more protection for the gunners and stuff like that. And then we have the M1A2 SEP V3 Abrams. Again, just some more, upgrades, and mainly you're going to see the difference being the automated turret on top there. So that is the line of Abrams I have so far. Next up, we have the M250, which is the Atomic Anti-Gun Transporter, and the M249, again, part of the Atomic Anti system. And of course, we have Atomic Anti here, the nuclear firing cannon. Next up, we have the M920 tractor tow. So this is just a heavy-duty tractor vehicle. Then we have the line of Humvees. So we're in for a treat here if you love Humvees. First one we have here is the M1025 Humvee. So just your standard version with a machine gun. We then have a protected version of it, the M1151. Again, has the protected turret on top there, a bit more up armored if I remember correctly as well. We then have the tow version. So this has the tow launcher. Then we have the M707 Knight. So this was a artillery observation vehicle, and also behind all these Humvees, I do have the forest camo version as well. So you have the desert and also forest. So fun, you can use these for a lot of different scenarios. We then also have the standard, truck version here, pickup truck with the back bed. Then we have a jammer version. So this is nicknamed the Traffic Jam. It's basically just an electronic jammer on the Humvee. And we have another version of the jammer here, which is the JMX Mark IV. Again, another electronic warfare jammer. Next up, we have the experimental M242 Bushmaster equipped on top of the Humvee. So really nothing too fancy there, just an experimental concept idea. Next one we have is going to be the MGM 166 LOSAT, which was another concept to mount some laser-guided missiles onto the Humvee as well, and it actually had some little spare trailer there to transport them. Kind of a cool little build there. Next up, we have the Trojan Spear 2, so just a communications satellite or dish on top of this vehicle, so really cool there. And we have another communications one. This one's pretty much the same thing, but it's just on a trailer. So, again, nothing crazy there. We then have another vehicle here. This is a little short-range radar. This is nicknamed the Sentinel. Again, a little short-range radar mounted on a trailer being towed and supplied with power from the Humvee unit. Then next up, we have the Smart T, which is, again, just a smaller communication satellite on the back of a Humvee. And we have the Trojan Spirit 2 again. This one's just mounted on the roof and just a little bit of a different setup than the other versions. We then have the Medivac version. So this is the ambulance version of the Humvee. And then we have the anti-air version, which is the Avenger, which has some rockets and a little gun there. So pretty cool stuff. That is all the Humvees. Again, pretty crazy to go over that many, but that is all we have for Humvees. Next up, we have the HS TVL, experimental light tank. Really cool, interesting design for that one. And then we get into the Striker family. Thought the Humvees were long, got the Strikers as well. You have your standard Striker here. Then we have the Dragoon, which was, again, an experimental one with a 40mm gun. So, interesting design there for that. We then have the Striker A1 IM Shroud, a self-propelled anti-aircraft version, followed by the Striker AV, which was a reconnaissance version. Of course, we have the MGS, which was the mobile gun system version with the gun mounted on the back. Next up, we have the M1129 Striker, the MC, the mortar carrier. So as you can see, we have the mortar there in the back of it. Then next up, we had the command vehicle of it, so the M1130. Then this next one is the M1131 Striker. This is the fire support vehicle, or the FSV, and just designed for like artillery and basically serves a very similar role to the reconnaissance one. Next up, we have the engineering version, which is the M1132 Striker EV, so engineering vehicle. We have it with the plow and then also the rollers. So two different versions here. It's the same build generically, but has the different plows there on the front. Next up, we have the M1133 Striker MEV, which is the medical evacuation vehicle. So again, as you can probably guess, it's the medical transport version of it. Then we have the M1134 Striker, which has the ATGM launcher on top there, so fires anti-tank guided missiles. And then we have the M1135 Striker, which is the nuclear, bio, and chemical reconnaissance vehicle, so just designed for detecting, basically contamination from biological or nuclear warfare. This next one here is kind of a concept model I found. It's not anything that's actually been built, but I thought it was pretty cool. It's a Striker with a 155mm howitzer on the back. Looks absolutely ridiculous, but I thought it was a really cool model, so I decided to go ahead and build it. But yeah, cool stuff there. And then we have, again, a concept version of a ammo carrier for the Striker versions that is carrying ammo. This would be carrying the 155mm shells to support this gun system. So again, these don't actually exist, but I thought they were pretty cool, so I wanted to give them a build. Next up, we have, again, an experimental one. This is the Striker Mihel, which is an anti-UAV version. So kind of something they're testing, but it's designed, again, for, as you can probably guess, anti-UAV warfare through, I think, using lasers and probably jamming and stuff like that. Next up, we have the Striker Electronic Warfare. Again, kind of a concept vehicle. This one is mainly designed for electronic warfare, so jamming and all that. We next have another concept version, which was the Tracked Striker. And this basically just incorporated a track system onto the Striker and was supposed to basically improve it all around. And it did, but it was just too costly to carry out. So, interesting build. And then we have the Striker MRV, which was another concept. It was a recovery vehicle version of the Striker, so it had a crane and a plow, just doing typical recovery stuff. Next up, we had the M1070A0, which was a tractor trailer for transporting tanks, and then we have the trailer here next to it, which is the M1000. So that is the American line, and yeah, it's absolutely massive. I mean, it's already expanded, but no surprise there. The American line is typically one of our longest lines we always have, just because there's just a lot of highly requested vehicles that come from it. And of course, following behind in a close second is going to be the Russian, Soviet, and Belarus. Belarus has been added into the world. It's the first time ever having in Belarus, so we do have some vehicles, or really just one vehicle to take a look at from them. But starting off with, we have the T-72A. Then after that, we have the T-72B, followed by the T-72B mod 1989. Then we have the ZSU 57-2, and this is going to be the PTS. And we also have the other version of the PTS here, which has the ramp down. So just the same thing, just with two different versions there. We then have the T-15 Armada, which is the infantry fighting version of the T-14. This really ugly tank, the Kungenitz 25 armor personnel carrier, and then we have another version of it just with a gun on it, so kind of more of an infantry fighting version of it. We then have the DT-30P1 Vityaz, armored personnel carrier, multi-purpose tractor, something like that. We then have the Gaz Tiger, and we also have the Gaz Tiger with the Cornet D missile system. We then have a ton of variants of the ZIL 131. So we have the cargo truck with the top cover and just the standard bed. We then have the command version. We then have the fuel tanker. This is the Grad version, or just multiple rocket launchers, so the MLRS. I'm pretty sure it's the Grad system if I remember correctly. But yeah, you have the basically just in the transit mode and also in the deployed mode with it going upwards. We then have 2 fire truck versions, so just a standard one here and then one that has a ladder on it. So kind of a cool add-on there for that. Next up, we have the truck or the tractor trailer version, so it can tow trailers and stuff like that. Next up, we have the T-72B3 main battle tank, and then we have the T-72B3M, and then we have the T-72 Ural, so the base version of it. Next up, we have the TOS-1A Berantino multiple rocket launcher, and we have it with the transport mode and then the erected version. Next up, we have the T-14 Armada, followed by the T-90. Then we have the SP-85E2 TEL. It's basically the vehicle base, and this has the S-400 surface-to-air missile system mounted on it. So again, we have the transport version of it and the erected version of it there. So the S-400 missile system. Then we just have a standard cargo truck here. This is the Ural 5323. And then we have a version of it that is the S-400 battery command center. So this is where all the operations for an S-400 battery would occur. And then we have a radar truck for the S-400. This is going to be the Gravestone. So the 92N6 Gravestone, and mounted on the truck. Again, we have it kind of raised up and operational, and then we have it in the more transit mode, which I should probably make the version with the thing actually down as well. But that is a transit version of it. Then next up, we have the Avato Baza M ELINT, so just an information processing station. And then we have the Avobaza M ELINT. This is the detection and direction finding station. So I think these actually coordinate with the S-400 missile system as well. So a lot of stuff going on here, just a lot of radar and detection trucks there. Then next up we have the R934U TIT, which is a electronic warfare vehicle, followed by the MT-LBU. Then we have the MT-LBU armored personnel carrier with a little turret machine gun up on top there, followed by the ZU-23-2 anti-aircraft gun, both in the deployed and transit mode. Then we got the T-72B3 with the turtle tank field modification. So it's got the mine rollers here on the front and the cope cage or cope barn around it to prevent drones and stuff. But I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool design, something a little bit more unique. And then we have our first ever Belarusian vehicle. This is the MZKT 74135 tractor trailer. So really cool build with that. And then we have the KZKT 7428, and this is a heavy truck with a trailer here, and the trailer is called the 9101. So pretty cool stuff there for the Soviet line, and obviously this line is going to expand pretty rapidly with the US as well, as it typically does. So that's pretty exciting for that, and we'll be going ahead and moving back to our European section. So I'm thinking this line we have quite a few different countries. We have Poland, France, and Germany. Starting off with, we have France, which has the AMX-56 Leclerc. We then have the Weasel 1. This one's with the tow launcher. And then we have the Weasel with the 20mm gun, or autocannon. And then we have the command version of it, if I remember correctly. So different Weasels there. We then have the Leopard. So this is the Leopard 2A5. Then we have the Leopard 2A4, then the Leopard 2A7, and then we have the Polish Leopard 2PL, so basically just the Polish version of the Leopard, really nothing too different. We then have the EBRC Jaguar, followed by the Leopard 1A1, then we have the Leopard 1A3, and then the Leopard 1A5. So really nice looking tank there. We then have the Flak Panzer Jeopard, so A2. We then have the Bergpanzer, which is just a engineering version, I think, of the Leopard 1. I could be wrong on that, but it's an engineering version. So we have this with just everything kind of stationary, so the more mobile transit version. And we have this one with everything deployed, so the front plow and the recovery crane there. Next to it, we have a German concept. This was another version of the Striker. This was basically designed to launch an assault bridge, and it was worked on by a German company. But yeah, so just a Striker that could deploy a bridge layer. And then we have the Leopard 2P SO, which I think is just a upgrade for like the Leopard series. I think trying to go with like the Leopard 8 pretty much is what that's trying to fulfill. Behind that, we have even more countries, of course. We have kind of more of our Eastern European kind of Mediterranean area. The first one here being Italy with the C1 Ariete. Cool build there. Then we have the T85 M1 from Romania. Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic, we have the Tatra T815 cargo truck. So just two versions of it. We have the 6-wheeled and then the 8-wheeled version. Then next to it, we have the Tatra 813, so another heavy truck. And this one is the RM70, which has the rocket launcher, or the MLRS system on the back there. Next to it, we have Ukraine, which has the Leopard 2A4V, so just a modification of the Leopard. It's kind of interesting because it gives like this like front sloped armor that's very reminiscent of like a T90 and all that. So reactive armor, really cool stuff. So went ahead and built that there. Next up, we have the B2 Centauro from Italy, which I really love this design. I think that came out really good for a wheeled tank destroyer. Then we have the another Humvee. This is a Greece design, and this is the Asrad, which was a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. It basically had this dual rocket launcher that would pop up. So cool there. And then we have the Leopard 1A5 Hell, which is the Hellenic version, the Greek version of the Leopard A5. So has a really cool camouflage on it, and just some few different differences here and there. And then we have the Elvo Kentaurus, which is an infantry fighting vehicle, again from Greece. And then we have the Leopard 2A6 Hell, which again very similar to that of the other Leopards. Really not too many differences. This one though is based off one that was an exercise where it had all this camouflage netting on it, and I think it looked really cool. So it's again one of the more unique tanks with all this camouflage netting, but it looks really cool. Then behind them, of course, we have our Nordic countries here, and coming in our first section, we have the Finnish with the Patria AMV with this dual turret on it. Next to it, we have just the standard Patria AMV, and then another version of it that has a machine gun mount on the top. Next to it, we have the STRV 122A, the Swedish version of the Leopard 2, and then the STRV 122B. So just some few differences here and there between them. We then have the Finnish Leopard 2A4 Marksman, so self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. And then we have Norway over here, actually, with the Leopard 1A1. This, again, pretty much the same thing as the Leopard 1A1, but it has a white camouflage to it, which I thought was pretty sick. So looks really nice and clean there. Next, we have the UK, and the UK here has the FV403 Challenger 2, just a standard version. We then have the upgraded version of it, which is the ATDU. And then next to it, we have the Street Fighter 2, so this kind of more designed for urban conflict version of the Challenger. And then we have the basically the training vehicle, if you want to call it that. So they would use it, instructors would sit up there, and it's used for training new tank drivers and stuff like that for the Challenger series. And then we have the Challenger 2E. And we also have the Trojan AVR-E, which, again, just an engineering version of the Challenger series. So some really cool tanks there for us. Next up, we have the Asian lineup, and this is going to start off with South Korea, which has the K2 Black Panther. Then we have the Type 16 from Japan, as well as the K808 Bako from Korea, and we also have an anti-aircraft version of it, which is the K30W. We then have the K9A1 Thunder in the gun elevated as well version, so 2 of those. And then we have the K21 IFV as well. Next up, we have the North Korea, which it's been a very long time since we built North Korean equipment. I'm talking years and years, but they're finally back. And with a bang, we have the dump truck MRS. So this is a disguised dump truck version seen in some of their parades that they do. So basically, looks like a dump truck. So right here, and it has this rocket launcher that can come out of it. So very interesting stuff there from the North Koreans, but very unique build, and I thought it was pretty fun building it. And then we have the same thing here, but this uses a box truck, so pretty standard stuff there. A little rocket launcher that sticks out. And then we have the tractors. So this one here is one of the older designs. I somehow actually found the name for these tractors. This is the Cholima 28, and it has a little, rocket car on the back. And then we have the more modern version, which is the Cholima 804. Again, just a tractor with a MRS trailer on the back. And then right next to it here, we do have the M2020 main battle tank, which is their apparent main battle tank and technologically advanced tank nonetheless. So interesting stuff there for the Asian line. And then we come over here, we have basically kind of Africa and South America combined here. But we just have Brazil and South Africa so far. First one being the EET-1 from Brazil. And then the next build we have here is another version of the Striker. This here is the LAV-3, which basically had a 105mm artillery gun and was a concept by a South African company. Then going back here, we have even more stuff. This is going to be the Insurgent section. So we have the truck here with the T-62 turret, one of my favorite technicals I've seen out there. So that's pretty cool. Then we have the Toyota pickup with a machine gun. So just your standard kind of Dishka machine gun. This one here has a rocket pod from like a Hind on it, and then just another machine gun on the back. And then this one here has the ZU-23-2, which is one of the more popular choices to be used by insurgent groups. This next one here is very interesting. This is, I think, based out of Syria, but there's a clip of them putting a ZU-23-2 turret in the bucket of a front loader and driving it through the streets of like a city. So yeah, that's what this is here. Just a front loader with a ZU-23-2 gun in the front. Next up, we have a modified Humvee. This is actually from Iraq, so our first ever Iraqi vehicle. And it's a Humvee just with the ZU-23-2 turret mounted on the roof with kind of a box structure around it to protect it. And then we have another modified Humvee that has this 90mm French anti-tank gun on it. Again, from I think it was from Libya, some Libya rebels or something like that were using it. So some pretty interesting builds here in kind of the insurgent and Middle Eastern line. Now, back behind this, we have, of course, our oversized section. So this has the PTS. This one also has a little trailer on the back there for transporting some more vehicles. We then have the S400, but this one here is with like this semi-truck or this tractor trailer. So a bit of a smaller footprint than what we had before, but this one is the transit version. And of course, we have the erected version of the S400 there. We also have another version of the radar system for this. This is the Tombstone. So again, another air surveillance radar. And we have the big truck here with the trailer system, and we have it in the upwards position and obviously the lower position as well. Next to it, we have the R378B. This is a electronic warfare system. So pretty cool stuff there. And then we have the TIT again. This one has all this stuff deployed. We then have the Atomic Annie. This is the transit version, so it has the trucks attached to it and the gun kind of folded and stored. And then next to it, we have the M920 with the M87DA1 tractor trailer. So, pretty straightforward stuff there with that. And then next to it, we have the M1070 truck with the M100 trailer. So, again, pretty straightforward, just some tank transporters for the most part here. And next to it, we have the Belarusian truck that we took a look at earlier, but this one has the trailers. So this has a version with just the one trailer, and there's also a version that has 2 trailers, so it can tow multiple vehicles. It's pretty cool stuff. And then we have the Russian kind of equivalent here with the KZKT 7428. So that's there with that all connected. Anyways, though, that's going to do it for our ground section. It ate up a huge chunk of the video. I know, if you made it through it. Absolutely impressed. But yeah, a lot of good stuff there for the ground section. More to obviously be coming. But we're going to go ahead and move back to our naval section. Now, I'm sorry for all you naval fans out there. There really isn't too much to write home about when it comes to the additions to the naval line. For the Battlefield builds, I have transferred all of them over, or mainly most of the ones I felt were worth transferring over. So that means a lot of builds on here may not have been made it over from the model world, and that's mainly just because I want to redo them or I don't think they're good enough. But all the countries have been added in. I've done a little bit different in the formatting, so as you can see, they're sitting here in this the water, and everything just kind of looks a little bit nicer and cleaner, I think. Again, you can see just a lot of the newer ships have been carried over. A lot of the older stuff, hasn't been made over. There isn't really a lot of new ships to talk about per se compared to the model world. I'm not going to dive into everything that's been added in here because a lot of the stuff has been covered in previous videos, but I will talk about the few new ships that have been added in, and the first one here is going to be the USS Laffey, an Allen M. Sumner class destroyer. So that has been added into the world. And then we also have the USS McCall, which is a Gridley class destroyer. That is a new build. And then we also have the USS Chicago, which is a Northampton class as well. So these are the only new ships to add into the world, but you guys kind of get the general idea of it. You can see we have the Japanese behind us, and this is just kind of the new format for everything, and hopefully we'll see some more ships coming in the future here, but as of right now, this is all I really have to show for the naval section, and you guys can explore it for yourself if you want to take a look at the ships a little bit closer. But I have covered them in previous videos, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip ahead to the aircraft section. So moving into our aircraft section, we are going to go ahead and, of course, start with our World War II section, and we have the United States leading us off. The first build we have here is going to be the SB2U Vindicator. So this is a dive bomber used, I think, one of the earlier war versions, but pretty cool. We have obviously the in-flight version and also a landed version. I am trying to look at doing more landed versions of planes in 1.5-1, so hopefully we'll see those translating a little bit better. But next to it, we do have the P-51D Mustang. So again, iconic fighter, can't do American aircraft without doing the P-51, so that's that. We then have the B-25J Mitchell, so really cool stuff there for that, both in landed and in-flight version. And then we have the naval version, which was the PBJ-1J, used by the Navy and Marine Corps. So good stuff there. And then right next to it, we have the reconnaissance flow plane used throughout the war, the Volt OS2U3 Kingfisher. So really nice designs for all of those, and you'll be seeing some more World War II aircraft coming soon. Next up, we have the Soviet Union. Only one plane so far for them. This is going to be the Yak-9 fighter, so really nothing too fancy about that. After that, going back further, we have the Westland Whirlwind heavy fighter. So, again, cool design for it. Then back further, we have the French, which has the D500. So just a little fighter, I think an interwar fighter if I remember correctly. But yeah, just a little guy there. And then further back, we do have Germany, and we have the Bf-109, which came out really good. Really do love this, probably my favorite World War II plane I've done so far. And then we have the Heinkel HE-111 bomber as well. So some really fine additions there to the German lines, pretty much the two most iconic German aircraft, I think, built up. Now, the next thing we'll be doing is going over to, of course, our modern section. And we'll start with the UK here, switch it up a little bit. First one we have here is going to be the Paniva Tornado. So we got the Tornado here. This was a joint project between the UK and Germany, but here's just, a standard version of it. So I think this is the Interceptor version too, if I remember correctly, the IDS version. And then next to it, we have the Hawker Hunter as well. So really cool stuff there. Some good looking jets. Then we have the Russian-Soviet section, and the first one we have is going to be the Su-27 Flanker B. Again, landed and in-flight versions for it. Next to it, we have the MiG-29 Fulcrum. So that's pretty nice. And then we have the MiG-21, followed by the MiG-15. Actually, the MiG-9, my bad. MiG-9 Fargo. And then we have the MiG-35 Fulcrum. So the more modernized version of it looks really nice. And we have the Su-57, the most quote-unquote advanced Russian aircraft that they have, stealth fighter. So cool stuff there for those. And then we'll move over to the U.S. section, which has a lot of good aircraft. First being here the F-18. Of course, this is the, I believe this is the D version, or this is the E version, my bad. So we have the E version here for it. Then we have the A-10C Warthog. So really good stuff there. We have the different versions of Black Hawk here. So we have the UH-60 Black Hawk, just the standard version. We then have the H-860 Pave Hawk. Then we have the Coast Guard Jayhawk. So pretty much all the versions there, main versions except for the Navy one so far. We then have the F-15EX, the upgraded version of the Eagle, and then we have the F-15E, and then the NASA version or experimental version, which was the F-15S/MTD, which had like these canards they were testing or stuff like that. We then have the B-1 Bone bomber. So it's pretty cool. We have the swept wing version and the wings extended out. So really nice looking stuff there for the bone. And then we have the F-22 Raptor. Really nice looking design for it. And then next to it, we have, I believe, the F-103 or F-10A. F-101A, the Voodoo. So, yeah, really cool stuff there for the U.S. section. And, of course, this U.S. section is going to continue to just blow up. So definitely in the next video, we'll have a lot more interesting stuff to cover. But that is going to be it for the aircraft section. A little small, but something I hope to expand upon a lot more in future updates. So that's it for the aircraft section. And let's go ahead and move on to space. So a new section that's been added in is my space section. Now this here basically has a lot of NASA-themed builds and also some Russian, space program builds, and hopefully we'll see some more. So this is going to house rockets and just any kind of space-related equipment, and there's a lot of really cool stuff here. The first being is we do have the NASA crawler. This is what they use to transport the whole space SLS platforms, which you see in the background there, to and from basically the launch pads. So really cool stuff. This thing is absolutely massive. So really cool build there. We then obviously have the space shuttle. This one here is technically Discovery, but really they all kind of look the same, so it really could be any one of them. But yeah, we have the space shuttle here as well. We then have the Artemis rocket system. So this is what they're using for the new mission to the moon. So we'll take a look at that on the SLS here soon. But yeah, that's just the rocket by itself with the boosters. We then have the Hubble telescope. And then behind this, we do have some Helldiver stuff, so the Eagle 1, and we also have the Factory Strider, as well as some of the Devastator versions. So if you are a fan of Helldivers, you might appreciate those builds. I haven't figured out where I want to put them yet, so they're just kind of sitting here for the time being. We then have the Apollo lunar lander, and we also have a Soyuz satellite. So cool stuff there. We then have the Sputnik 1, so just a fun little build there, the first satellite. And we also have the Lunar Roving Vehicle, the LRV, or the Lunar Rover. So cool stuff there for the Apollo mission. But here's the real big kicker here. This is the NASA Artemis platform, or SLS platform for the new upcoming mission to the moon. Really awesome looking build. And I will be doing a showcase video, so I'm not going to go into super great detail about it. You'll have to stay tuned for that video, but we do have the Artemis logo there, and it looks really, really, really cool. I'm really happy with it, and it's absolutely massive. I mean, you can see it here for yourself, but I actually built it only in a weekend, believe it or not. So again, just really happy with it, and it is fully traversable, so you can actually go on this walkway and go all the way to the top capsule there as well if you wanted to. So again, I'll be doing a more in-depth video on it, and we have two versions. We have one that's just on the stilts there, and we also have a version that's being carried by the NASA crawler. So you can just see how big this is compared to the NASA crawler. It's pretty impressive. It's a really cool build, and I am super excited to do a more in-depth video of it. But for the time being, we're going to leave that alone as is, and we'll be going ahead and heading over to our other section. But as a summary, this is the space section, and this is between the modern air and ground section. So just to the side here, and that's the space section. So we'll see a lot more coming to that very soon in the future for sure. Now across the way, we have one of the biggest single builds I've ever done, and you guys are going to absolutely love this. Again, this is going to be a whole showcase video by itself, but I do want to go ahead and highlight it a little bit in this video. I did start this in a 2-to-1 scale, never finished it. Here I am finishing it. Also the same thing with the SOS platform as well, but this here is the Bagger 288 mining excavator, the largest man-made vehicle in the world, and you can definitely see what I mean by it, and it is absolutely insanely big. Lots of great detail on it. I'm not fully done with it. There are some things I want to do here and there, like get the banners all set up and like actually have the writing on the side of those white kind of billboards there. And then also I have to finish the little section where all the dirt actually comes out for this back cart. But you can see lots of really great detail on it. And again, I'm not going to go in super great detail about it because that's something for a whole showcase video. But you guys are going to absolutely love it. And it is fully walkable, so you can start from all the way back here and actually climb your way all the way up to the highest point up there, that crane, or I think right below the crane on those catwalks. So you can actually get all the way to the top of the build if you really wanted to, just from the ground level, which I think is really cool and one of those features that I'm always trying to incorporate, because I think it would be cool when you start on the back here, you walk your way throughout the entire vehicle and you actually get to the top, or even all the way in the front there, the actual bucket wheel portion. So really crazy stuff. Obviously this will never be a tutorial, but there will be a download on my Planet Minecraft coming for it, and obviously it's for download in this world, but just an absolute beauty of a vehicle. So that's really cool stuff. Again, that'll be for its own showcase video. The next build we have here is the last build for the construction section, and this is the biggest, or I think the second biggest crane in the world, or crawler crane. So it's able to move on its own. This is the Labur LR 13,000 crawler crane. So it's made in Germany. This thing is absolutely huge, and the Bagger is also in Germany. It's German engineering, man. They do some crazy stuff, but this crane is absolutely huge. You can see it kind of gives the Bagger 288 a run for its money in height. But yeah, this thing's absolutely massive. We do have the shorter arm configuration, so this arm could actually extend even higher up in the air, but I felt it would be kind of ridiculous, and I think what we have right here is perfectly fine. But you have all the counterweights and all that. Just an awesome looking build, a lot of good detail in it. Super happy with the way it came out. And again, this will be a download. It's actually already for download individually if you just want the individual thing on my Planet Minecraft. So definitely feel free to check that out if you're interested. But yeah, this thing is super cool and an awesome looking build. But that's going to sum up the construction section, and we'll move into the outro of the video. And that right there, guys, is going to wrap up this video. I know it's absolutely been a long video. My voice is killing me here, but I really hope you guys do enjoy it, and I really wanted to show off everything I built, because every single one of these builds I'm super excited to show you guys, and honestly, I think you guys will have a lot of fun with this world and just kind of exploring, and hopefully you're excited for some of the builds coming in the future as tutorials if you're not able to download the world yourself. But anyways, I do want to go ahead and again tell you guys you can find the download in my Planet Minecraft. Link is going to be down in the video description. It will take you to the Planet Minecraft page, and you'll be able to download the file directly from there. Highly recommend doing it. It's an awesome world to check out, and as always, if you do download it and use any of these designs, make sure to give me credit for the original designs. With that though, I am super excited to show you guys the rest of what's to come, and if you have made it this far in this video, definitely make sure to let me know what's your favorite build. I know it's probably going to be the SOS or the Bagger 288, because those things are two absolute insane builds. But if you like something different, be sure to let me know, and keep an eye out for some showcase videos on some of the more bigger projects. That it's a little bit more, in-depth and cinematic-y and all that stuff. But other than that, though, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Go download World, have fun, and with that, I will see you guys next time.